Shocking example of public apathy and our obsession with shooting viral videos. A heart-wrenching video has emerged from Kannauj, where a 12-year-old girl who was missing was found wounded and crying for help on the ground. People who were standing around her, instead of helping her, were busy taking videos of the girl. The girl pleads for help and they went unheard until the police arrived and was carried out in their arms to the hospital. The family is alleging sexual assault while investigations are underway. The big question is, why did no one come forward to help the girl? Can those who were busy filming the girl be absolved of this guilt? Should they be punished or not? And how do we as a society and as Indians change this particular mindset? We'll talk about this with our guest. Joining me on the show is Dr. Madhusudan Singh Solanki, Senior Psychiatrist and Head of Department of Mental Health and Behavioral Sciences, Max Smart Super Specialty Hospital. Mr. L.N. Rao, former DCP, Special Cell, also joins us on the show. Mr. Ved Bhushan, former ACP, joins us on the program as well. And last but by no means the least, Mr. Sandeep Chatra, Human Rights Defender, also joining us on the show. Dr. Solanki, if you're there with us and if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can.
Dr. Solanki, in your opinion, what is wrong with these people? This girl, a 12-year-old girl, there apparently doesn't seem to be any crime scene around her. There's nothing that is perhaps going to, incriminate them. Yet they continue to film her. They continue to make sure that, the viral element of their lives is maintained while this girl suffers. As a civil society, as a country which is progressing and inching towards a certain level of civility, how disappointed are you by seeing and hearing about this?
Yes, it's indeed a shocking incident, Vineet. And it really fills one with pain to see how people can be so apathetic. But there is a phenomenon in psychology, in social psychology especially, which is known as bystander effect or bystander apathy. When people are in a group and when they're watching someone in distress, nobody takes the first step because they think somebody else would do it. And nowadays, on top of it, there are mobile phones in your hand, so you start shooting it. For various reasons, we can, it may be just for the virality of it, as you said. And in minority, there may be a genuine desire to just shoot it, to let people know how people are in pain or to just caution other people. But still, this particular psychological phenomenon takes place. It was there before mobile phones as well. But nowadays, we have more recorders of the event, so it is coming to light more often. So that may be a major reason why this thing is happening. Apart from the other things like lack of social cohesion or lack of compassion and apathy or rising apathy and all that.
Dr. Solanki, I am compelled to ask you this question. Do you think that, our alter ego has somehow been transferred into this hand phone that we carry around all day, and our perspective and the way we think is also through the prism of this particular smartphone, and that is the real ailment?
See, what I feel is that the digital technology is there, but how to use it and the digital etiquettes are still missing. Society is at large grappling with the new advent of this technology in the last 15 years as to how to use it. They don't just know it. It has just grabbed them and they have become obsessed about it. Because it is such a thing which was never ever there in human civilization. The ease of using it, the comfort of and the easy accessibility and the ease of carrying it everywhere,
Understood.
And the kind of reward, the instant reward it gives when you share something, when you upload something, that instant gratification that comes, all of this is overwhelming people. They just don't know what to do about it.
Absolutely. Mr. Rao, if you're there with us, sir. Mr. Rao?
Yes, Vineet, I'm here.
Mr. Rao, even though the police arrived and took that girl away, a smartphone is only smart if you use it to do the right thing. Instead of those videos, they should have been making a call to the police. How do you think, the system has been exposed in terms of, these exploitation visuals that we got to see today. This is a form of exploitation, I feel.
Yes, Vineet, the technology, new technology, and the other, you can say the science has their benefits as well as the vices also. The same is here with the phone technology. The people think that, as Mr. Psychologist also told you, that so many people keep on bystanding there, and they don't bother about what is to be done and what is to be immediate requirement of that person who is suffering from any atrocity. So the people only seeing as standard by, and moreover, they are using their mobile phone as a shooting of this film. This is not only this case of Kannauj. You might be remembering the case of that Nirbhaya in Delhi itself, where we claim that we are so socialized, we are so civilized person. In that Nirbhaya's case also, that girl was in naked condition, was lying on the roadside, and so many vehicles passed away, and even so many people have seen that also. So this is a psychological problem with the people also, and another which the greatest factor I can see, that the people don't want to be involved in such type of criminal cases when the police is involved. The people just want to be away from all these things, and only that shooting video is. I also agree with that Mr. Psychologist, that Mr. Sonki, that they in the need of gratification or easy reward, they can shoot that film and upload it somewhere with the video also. And this video also has been uploaded by someone and to the media. That's why we are all discussing today about it. So these are so many factors which are there, but this is really a shocking for our so-called civil societies. People are standing there and nobody is going to help that lady in distress, and ultimately police has to come, and then they took action in this matter. Then really we have to think about it to mend our ways in our society, and the people should think that they can also be in the same situation at any one of the time. That thing can happen with everyone. So that there should be a social you can say platform, and that people should be made aware of all these things, and they should be tutored, like in the school level and the college level. Most likely that the students should be tutored, that they should help in the persons in distress, and instead of taking movie and videos, they should they should have removed that person in the hospital immediately in the hospital.
All right.
The police authorities.
All right, वेद भूषण जी, अगर आप मेरी आवाज सुन पा रहे हैं। वेद भूषण जी,
आपकी आवाज आ रही है।
वेद भूषण जी, क्या लगता है आपको, क्या समस्या है, क्या डर है लोगों को? क्या लगता है कि अगर ऐसे मामले में अगर वो इन्वॉल्व हो जाएंगे तो पुलिस ही शायद उनका जीना दुश्वार कर दे, पर जब पुलिस अपना काम करने में कहीं पीछे रह जाती है तो यही लोग होते हैं जो पुलिस को गालियां देते हैं। अगर हम एक सिविलाइज सोसाइटी होकर पुलिस की किसी तरह मदद नहीं करेंगे या फेलो सिटीजन्स की मदद नहीं करेंगे तो कैसे चलेगा काम, लोगों का भी, आवाम का भी और पुलिस का भी?
देखिए विनीत, जो वीडियो आप चला रहे हैं टेलीविजन पर, उसमें दो चीज क्लियर दिखाई देती हैं। एक तरफ हम सरकारें कोशिश कर रही हैं बेटी पढ़ाओ बेटी बचाओ, तमाम तरह की सरकारी एनजीओ, तमाम सोसाइटी के बड़े बड़े लोग इस बारे में बातें करते हैं टेलीविजन पर, मीडिया पर, बड़े बड़े इंग्लिश में लेक्चर्स होते हैं, बातें होती हैं, डिबेट्स होती हैं, पर ग्राउंड में जो इनसेंसिटिविटी है, जो एक नमनेस है, लोग तमाशबीन बने हुए हैं। आप कन्नौज तो बहुत दूर है दिल्ली से, आप दिल्ली में जो रोड साइड एक्सीडेंट देखें तो लोग बिल्कुल इग्नोर करके चले जाते हैं कि पता नहीं किसका एक्सीडेंट हुआ है, व्हाई शुड वेस्ट माय टाइम। तो ये समाज में जो सेंसिटिविटी है, जब तक इसके बारे में सोसाइटी के अंदर जागृति नहीं होगी, हम अपने आप से नहीं समझेंगे। इट्स माय रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कि कोई लड़की यदि इस अवस्था में है, उसके टॉर्न कपड़े हैं, वहां पर कोई चद्दर डाल सकते थे, वहां पर कोई कपड़ा डाल सकते थे उसकी बॉडी के ऊपर। दूसरा जो फेस आपने दिखाया, पुलिस का एक मानवीय चेहरा भी निकल कर आया है। उसने सब इंस्पेक्टर ने कितनी हिम्मत करके उस लड़की को उठाकर, और उसकी कैप भी गिर गई है, उसके बावजूद वो ऑटो में लेकर रश कर रहा है। तो दोनों चीजें दिखाई देती हैं, समाज का भी एक रूप है, और केवल सरकार के ऊपर, पुलिस के ऊपर, एम्बुलेंस के ऊपर, हॉस्पिटल्स के ऊपर यदि हम डिपेंड रहेंगे तो समाज के अंदर इस तरह की ही चीजें निकल कर आएंगी, जो आज आपके मीडिया के थ्रू दिखाया जा रहा है, चैनल्स पर डिबेट हो रही है। वर्मा कमेटी की रिपोर्ट है, ये भी निर्भया का जिक्र चल रहा था, राव साहब जिक्र कर रहे थे, निर्भया के बाद में जो वर्मा कमेटी बनी थी उसमें बड़ी एग्जॉस्टिव रिपोर्ट आई थी कि व्हाट टू डू व्हाट नॉट टू डू, परंतु उसका कुछ नहीं असर हुआ। अभी भी सेम इन्वेस्टिगेशन, सेम ट्रायल एविडेंसेस, सीसीटीवी और एविडेंसेस, वही सारा, बहुत ज्यादा कुछ बदल कर नहीं आया है। और ये इंसिडेंट तो एक वीडियो बनाने की वजह से तमाम चैनल मीडिया इसको आ रहे हैं, परंतु पूरे अक्रॉस इंडिया यदि आप देखें तो इस तरह के बहुत सारे इंसिडेंट्स हैं जो समाज के अंदर, रिमोट एरियाज के अंदर अक्सर होते रहते हैं और कभी डिबेट का एक चर्चा का विषय नहीं बन पाते हैं। तो ये तमाम चीजें सोचने पर मजबूर करती हैं। व्हाट वेंट रॉन्ग, हम सरकारों को दोष देते हैं, हम तमाम लोगों को दोष देते हैं, धर्म को दोष देते हैं, पर ये तो धर्म की तो बात ही नहीं है इसके अंदर। ये तो मानवीय रिक्वायरमेंट है कि लड़की जिसके साथ में अटेम्प्ट रेप का हुआ नहीं हुआ, इट्स अनदर थिंग। इन्वेस्टिगेशन में क्या क्या चीजें आएंगी, क्या उसके एविडेंस कलेक्ट हो पाएंगे, पुलिस कहाँ तक पहुंच पाएगी। परंतु जिस तरह से पुलिस का जो पब्लिक का इनह्यूमन चेहरा है, अमानवीय चेहरा है, वह जरूर दिखाई देता है। हम केवल वीडियो बनाना, पोस्ट कर देना, वहां तक समाज नहीं है। समाज उससे आगे जाकर है। अब उसके जो माता पिता, उसके भाई बहन या उसके जो रिलेटिव हैं, वो क्या सोचेंगे कि हमारी जो बेटी है जिसके साथ में इतना दुर्व्यवहार हुआ, दुराचार हुआ, उसके लिए तमाम समाज केवल वीडियो बनाने से आगे कुछ नहीं कर पाया। हम कुछ नहीं दे पाए उस लड़की को, अननोन लड़की जिसके बारे में हमारे को और विनीत आपको कुछ नहीं पता, केवल उसका नाम भी हम लोग नहीं डिस्क्लोज कर सकते, उसके लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं। समाज कुछ नहीं कर पाया, समाज बिल्कुल शून्य बनकर रह गया विनीत, बिल्कुल जीरो, बिग जीरो। समाज की जो पोजीशन है वो बिग जीरो की तरह है।
Mr. Sandeep Chacha, how do you respond to this callousness? How do you respond to this, indifference? How do you respond, to numerous promises made by numerous governments on the safety and security of our girls? The Nirbhaya Fund has up to 3,000 crore rupees. Really don't know what's happened to that. The biggest and the most talked about case in the country took 10 to 12 years to conclude, hoping things would change after that. Public point of view and public sympathy and empathy would also in fact be transformed. Nothing on ground has changed. In fact, every day things are even more dismal and more decadent than they were in 2012.
Thank you, Vineet ji, and thank you to NewsX, first of all, for reporting such instances time and again, which present to us, which show to us a mirror of who we are as a society. So thanks for that, and will jolt us for social action, not just public debates, I hope, but action on the ground, as ACP Shri Ved Prakash ji was saying, and I concur with him. You see, this question of child rapes, I want to first touch on that, is not just sort of a macabre play of patriarchy, a macabre, hateful, spiteful play, and condemnable completely at any time, at any place. But it is also, I think those who are filming and watching it is an act of voyeurism, is an act of deep voyeurism on the life cries of the survivor, of the victim, as she cries for safety, as she cries for help. And I think this should be seen in our modern day societies. I mean, it is a show of toxic masculinity. All those who were filming, I noted in the video you were playing, I think all were men, and it is hateful. And I think this should be, in modern societies, be treated as an abetment to violence, if nothing else. And I think we should take it seriously beyond the social education program, which I'll come to in a bit. This is what I saw at display. In fact, to the comment which was being made, some years ago, Law Commission had talked to us on that. The Law Commission of India had said that 50%, we were mentioning about road accidents and lives. Law Commission had then said that about 50% of the lives can be saved if timely action were taken to victims on the road or survivors on the road or those who have been in accidents on the road. I mean, of course, it did not specify the different categories, but I don't think we are nowhere near it. I think we are really, really far from it. I mean, in a more general sense, I take pride today. I saw those videos and I take pride in the actions of the police. Very timely actions of the police, the sub-inspector in question, but more generally the police. The police have registered POSCO cases. The police have registered IPC cases, attempt to murder, rape, kidnapping. So all those instances have now been invoked, as I see from the media reports which have been going on. But on another matter, we need to worry. We do need to worry, because if you see crimes against children, I was going through the National Crime Records Bureau data more recently, and if you see 2020 and 2021, the crimes against girls and in particular against children, but in particular against girls have risen by about 16% or in a span of 1 year. So I think there's deep reason to worry. And as we know, many crimes go unreported. And as we also know, those communities which are socially underprivileged or disprivileged, of social diversity, minorities, Dalits, of weaker economic sections, their children are most vulnerable. So in our child protection policies, we would need to take action on that. A one-stop crisis center, Vinit, you mentioned, yes, we are still far from having functional, good one-stop crisis centers in every district of the country. I think more than one in every district of the country should be our desire and the path forward. But we still do need functional one-stop crisis centers, which are given wide publicity, so that such bystanders at least have the option of taking the victims and the survivors to those one-stop crisis centers, which offer all facilities in one roof: medical, legal, as well as counseling and others which are needed, and eventually rehabilitation. So I think that's something I would like to propose. On the bystander effect, yes, it's a problem. I completely agree that there is the bystander effect, and we do need to address the bystander effect as it is gripping our modern societies across the world, actually. And I think in this regard, social organizations, civil society organizations you mentioned in your opening need to get active. My own organization, the one I work for, Action Aid, has started a bystander program, from bystanders to social activists, from bystanders to justice defenders. And we are trying this out in Mumbai. We are reaching out to those people who would be on streets, people who are in cab, people who drive cabs, people who drive auto rickshaws, shopkeepers, young students, younger people. So I think that's also needed in order to overcome and pass strong social messaging. I think it is time, beyond the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao campaign, to actually go in for stronger public messages from the leadership about the need to protect girl children in face of such worrying situations that we have seen over the years, over the decades. And this evil does not die, and data points to that. So I do think we do need much more stronger messaging. We do need messaging about equality of girls and boys. We need to get men and boys in early times, particularly school-going boys, involved in campaigns, involved in lessons on patriarchy and toxic masculinity. We need to get them to join hands to demolish patriarchy from our society. So I think we need to do that. And finally, I must say, it is important now in the coming decade, it's long overdue, to get into what's called feminist policy making, to see all policies, to see all programs, to see all schemes that we have from a feminist lens, from a lens of which promotes justice for women of India in future, which promotes equality for women in India in future. For instance, the question of property itself, equal rights for women in property, women's share in property, sharing of work burdens at home. These build the ecosystem. And a society for tomorrow.
All right.
That would be my view on this matter. Thank you, Vinitji.
Okay. Dr. Solanki, coming back to you, are there any tips or any methodologies you feel that as citizens of India need to adhere to, or need to in fact embrace and ingrain in our systems to realize that helping another individual is not going to get you into trouble? It's embedded in the law, it's embedded in the system, but yet this fear of getting involved, jhamele mein phasna, is some kind of an attitude which needs to be gotten rid of.
Absolutely. See, there has to be a multi-pronged approach for that. And I think it starts with awareness and education. People should be sensitized regarding it, that helping others and that pro-social behavior is the need of the hour, right? And through media campaigns, through training in the schools, it should be taught in a way, it should be spread that this kind of behavior is desirable, it is a need of the hour. We cannot just stay like this, number one. Number two, training. Most of the people who are standing there, they don't know what to do except calling police or ambulance. They fear, again, the legal hassles and everything. So that should also be conveyed to the society, that there would be no trouble for people who are helping others in distress. No form of legal hassle would be there for them. The idea that one-stop center for such people in distress, it's a great idea. I mean, if somebody just can take somebody to that center where all things will be taken care of, That's a fantastic idea. I mean, people who want to help, they sometimes stop thinking of all these things, that they are not trained, they don't know what to do, they think somebody else will do, and even if they do, they will be in trouble. So this has to be very clear to the people that if somebody is helping some people in distress in this situation, there would be no problem for you in the future. People witness other people helping, that should be promoted. People get some sort of a training, a first aid training or a CPR training or some sort of training, so that they have an exposure to such events, that in such situation, this thing needs to be done rather than just looking at it.
Great points there. Absolutely.
And the digital etiquette. I mean, there is a need that we need to propagate digital etiquette, that it's not right to film someone in distress without their consent.
Absolutely.
I mean, you are just doing it. You are taking that vicarious pleasure in it, and you are completely ignoring the other people's rights.
Absolutely. That's the right term that you coined, Dr. Solanki, that digital etiquette is something which needs to be put out there and it needs to be taught and definitely segmented as well.
Yeah, it's a kind of intrusion. It's something, a violation of human rights if you see it that way. That I am lying on the road all naked and somebody is filming me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. Mr. Rao, the impending worry about, getting embroiled in any kind of a police fiasco, quote unquote, is also the reason a number of people do not come forth to help. The courts have, exonerated people for helping people who are in distress, but still there seems to be a lack of trust in the police. How is that going to be resolved?
No, lack of trust in police. Definitely, there are some element of lack of trust also, but not in all cases. Like in this case, police has shown this exemplary courage and exemplary that is shown as their above board of their duties. So it depends upon case to case. But definitely that legal hassle is a very, very important thing which the people have to think twice or thrice whether to help or not, because they will have to be dragged into the court cases and if they are witnesses also. I know one of the cases because I am a lawyer also. I know one person who has helped the accident case in removing the hospital. He was made the accused in that case. That in some cases like this, if such cases are seen by the general public, they will think that why we should help anyone, because if he is into trouble or if he is being harassed by the police as well as by the court cases, then nobody is going to that. In that regard, the government has to come out with the clear policy, and that there are instructions that nobody will be harassed, but that is only on the paper. The practical aspect is nowhere it is seen. So, and a more important thing in this type of cases is also the moral education, that is also beginning from the schools and colleges and also from the society and from the families. That this type of cases, there should be made an example, and they should be part of this curricular or the syllabus of the school teaching, that the people are made aware of it, that in such situation what is to be done, as Mr. Solanki was saying, and these cases should be made case studies, and then that should be a practical example, practical aspect of these things to be taught to the students in the schools, and so that when they are grow up as a civilized citizen, they should adapt in that category, and they should also expand it to the other by way of mouth and by way of that you can say the publicity by the government as well as by other. And the more important also is the NGOs, like Mr. Chandra was saying, that NGOs are also having very important role to play, so that in awareness to the general public, so that in such type of situation nobody is only seeing that the bystander and that they should immediately help, and for that purpose they should also be taught and what is to be done at that very stage. What is to be done, that is also very important, because if the people who are standing thereby, they don't know what is to be done, only except the informing the police or the ambulance.
Right, that is what Dr. Solanki also alluded to.
Definitely, that is also very important thing that is to be seen. And last but not the least, the government will will to do anything, that is also very important. Only the recommendations and the policies are only in the paper, that are not given any practical shape of execution. You may say the execution of these recommendations and policies which are meant for the betterment in the society, they are never executed, because the government is always busy in other their own selfish motives and other vote bank politics and so many other things. So these things should be implemented by the government. That should be, I must say, that the government should have a will to do all these things. If everything is done with a coordinated effort, the government, the public...
All right, sir. Sir, we've run out of time. I'm going to take concluding thoughts from Mr. Ved Bhushan and then Mr. Sandeep Chachra as well. Ved Bhushan ji, पुलिस पे विश्वास और पुलिस की प्रक्रिया पर विश्वास और पुलिस की मदद, क्या यही 2-3 तरीके हैं? और ट्रेनिंग भी कहा डॉक्टर सोलंकी ने कि लोगों को किस तरीके से ट्रेनिंग देनी चाहिए कि ऐसी समस्या में, ऐसी सिचुएशन में, ऐसी परिस्थिति में क्या किया जाए। आपको लगता है कि क्या इस बड़ी प्रॉब्लम का निवारण सिर्फ ये 1-2 चीज़ें ही कर सकती हैं?
विनीत, ब्रिटिश हायरार्की में जो हमें मिला है उसमें पुलिस को मिस्ट्रस्ट ही मिला है केवल, इसके अलावा कुछ नहीं मिला है। जितने भी फोटोग्राफर्स आप शूट कर रहे हैं, आप देखें, ये फर्स्ट रेस्पॉन्डर हो सकते थे, ये उस लड़की को लाइफ दे सकते थे, उसको नई जिंदगी दे सकते थे, परंतु फर्स्ट रेस्पॉन्डर ना होकर वो कहीं भी नहीं है। दे आर बिग जीरो। मेरी गारंटी है उनमें से एक भी आदमी जो वीडियो बना रहे हैं वो कोर्ट के अंदर एविडेंस डिपोज करने के लिए नहीं आएगा। ये सबसे बड़ी पेनफुल चीज है, क्योंकि जो समाज का सिस्टम है, कोर्ट, अदालत, पुलिस, तमाम एविडेंसेस पर चलती हैं। इतने सारे आई विटनेस होने के बावजूद भी इस केस के अंदर जब आप देखेंगे, गहराई से जाएंगे, एक भी आई विटनेस नहीं मिलेगा। केवल फोटोग्राफी करने और सोशल मीडिया पर उसको डाल देना ही काफी नहीं है। यदि सभी को फर्स्ट रेस्पॉन्डर की तरह डील करें तो बहुत सारी समस्याओं का समाधान इस देश में हो सकता है। पुलिस की, सरकार की बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारियां दूर हो सकती हैं। अभी बेटी पढ़ाओ बेटी बचाओ का अभी कई बार हम लोग रिपीट कर चुके हैं, परंतु केवल कागजी बनकर रह गया। यदि समाज के अंदर, सोसाइटी में आज भी वही स्थिति है, जहां ये 13 साल की लड़की जिसके ऊपर जुल्म हुआ, जिसको इंजरी इन्फ्लिक्टेड की गई, जिसको किडनैप किया गया, जिसके साथ जिसका जितनी सीरियस कंडीशन में जिसको हालात में वहां से रिमूव किया गया, तो तमाम चीजें कहीं ना कहीं आई ओपनिंग है। अब भी समाज को जरूरत है कि केवल सरकार पर डिपेंड ना करके, बाई स्टैंडर्ड ना, तमाशबी ना बनकर फर्स्ट रेस्पॉन्डर बने। सभी की जिम्मेदारी है, मेरी जिम्मेदारी है, विनीत आपकी जिम्मेदारी है, जो आपका चैनल देख रहे हैं उन सबकी जिम्मेदारी है कि सबको मिलकर फर्स्ट रेस्पॉन्डर बनना है, ना कि वीडियोग्राफी, फोटोग्राफी करनी है। और उसके अलावा आप यदि बुलाया जाएगा तो आप कोर्ट में गवाही देने भी नहीं आएंगे, तो कैसे जो वैशीपन के जो जिम्मेदार लोग हैं, कैसे उनको फांसी की सजा दिलवाई जाएगी? तमाम टीवी चैनल, मीडिया पर बार बार यही बात उठाई जाती है कि इसको फांसी दे दी जाए, इसको खत्म कर दिया जाए, परंतु जब अदालत के सिस्टम में ज्वाइन करने की बात आती है फिर वही बिग जीरो निकल कर आता है। विनीत, तो तमाम समाज, सोसाइटी, हम सबको देखने की जरूरत है कि हम कैसे इन चीजों को लेकर रेस्पॉन्ड कर सकते हैं और कैसे सोसाइटी को हम बेटर सोसाइटी बना सकते हैं। ओवर टू यू विनीत।
जी, बहुत अच्छे से फरमाया आपने। मिस्टर चाचा, half a minute left, concluding thoughts from you and then we wrap up.
No, I think absolutely the case. I think from bystanders to first responders, that's the point I was making, and I think that's good. I think there have been some experiments. Actually, in 2019, Delhi government had announced a scheme called Farishte Delhi, and incentivized people to respond, and about 13,000 lives were saved by their own estimates of road accident victims. So I think such schemes must be promoted. I also want to add to the fact that deterrents must be made, not just digital etiquette, but strong deterrents need to be put in place for such kind of actions which propel the spirit of, which propel absolute what should not be in our society. So I think strong deterrence is also needed. Apart, and I agree on the question of need for literacy on digital etiquettes, as well as the legal side and the action side to bystanders, or what they can do in such instances. The first responders need to take people to hospitals. That's the action, and most hospitals of the day to day, at least we've seen one
multi-pronged.
Yeah, they don't ask questions. If you take a survivor or a victim to the hospital, the first thing is to get medical attention. They don't book you, and I think the question of police remains. But I do see such acts as were displayed today by the police in UP, by the sub-inspector in UP, raise the bar of faith.
All right, Mr. Chachra, we've completely run out of time, sir. We've completely run out of time, but you're absolutely right that a multi-pronged approach, a multi-pronged reaction, or perhaps even a multi-pronged education system needs to be put into place, that situations like these are in fact time-bound, they're very sensitive, and if action not taken properly can lead to calamity as well. But in this case, there was also apathy which has to be addressed a million times over.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.